Welcome to another episode of the Korea Podcast. It's the 108th episode of the Korea Podcast. Today is a Monday. It is the 29th of March. And I hope everybody had a good weekend today. Well, not today. Had a good weekend. The Korea Podcast is the only live podcast coming to you from South Korea. The only live podcast on YouTube every week on the dot. Well, most of the time, bringing news from the South Korean peninsula about the happenings, about the things that are happening here on the peninsula. And in today's podcast, it's weather related, so to speak. Pollution. We were having some serious nasty air today, and we're gonna look at that and what's happening, why is it happening, and where it's coming from. We'll talk a little bit about all of that. But let me just check to make sure that the quality of sound is all right and all the other good stuff, because that's very important to people. People get upset, extremely upset, when video and sound quality are bunk. Nice. On the dot. Very good. Fantastic. Let's tune myself out here. Alrighty. Good. 29th of March. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I spent the weekend very happily. Weather was fantastic. Sunday was beautiful. Saturday was nice. Then it kind of rained overnight. And Sunday was just gorgeous. Temperatures were fantastic. The air quality was crisp. I mean, like crisp. It was just blue skies all the way through. And on Monday, towards the evening, Sunday evening, things got a little worse, a little less crisp. And then Monday, it was just horrendous in the morning. Air pollution is something that's been bothering me about South Korea, about living in South Korea, since living in South Korea, since moving to South Korea, and it's been years, and it hasn't changed. Today it seems like things have gotten worse. Actually, these are images of my. Let me just here. Something I pulled up of my air quality app this morning. This is Daegu. I haven't seen air quality this bad in South Korea since coming to South Korea in 2005. Granted, I didn't have a smartphone in 2005 when I came to South Korea, and there were no apps telling me how bad the quality is or how good the quality of air is. I do remember my first or second year in South Korea, cruising on my CB400 Honda with my girlfriend, now wife, and we were cruising around between Ulsan and Gyeongju. And ever since coming to South Korea, I was told about yellow dust this, yellow dust that. And I never believed in it. I never thought that there was such a thing, yellow dust, blah, 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 blah. I was wearing a black leather jacket at that time, and when we arrived in Gyeongju, I was covered in yellow dust. Both myself and my motorcycle and my girlfriend, now wife, were covered in yellow dust anywhere. Every crook and a cranny on my jacket, on my helmet, or rather face mask, was covered in dust. So this is Daegu. And this was my neighborhood in Ulsan, 277. Like I said, I've never seen anything like this. Even last year, the numbers were pretty bad, about 150 or something. But this is just nutty. Like, it's insane. I've never seen anything like that. So, why is that happening? Where is this coming from? Squeeze me. South Korea blanketed by extremely powerful yellow dust storm. This is the Yonhap news agency, just published today. Let's have a look. An extraordinarily strong yellow dust storm originating from the inland desert deserts in northern China blanketed all of South Korea on Monday, prompting authorities to issue a yellow dust warning for Seoul and almost all parts of the country. Now, for years, I've heard Koreans in Korea blaming China for the air pollution, for the dust. And this is another example of Yonhap News doing a very good job of just one-sided reporting, basically saying that this is, that's it. That's where it's coming from. And clearly, that is not the entire story. It's not the end of the story. It's not that simple. It's not as simple as pointing a finger to a certain area and say this is where it's coming from. And we'll get into that in a second. The density of the fine dust particles smaller than 10 micrometers in diameter, known as PM10, surged to the very bad level in the greater Seoul area, and almost all other regions, authorities said. As of 7 a.m., the hourly average concentration of PM10 reached 452 micrograms per cubic meter in Seoul, 681 micrograms in Daejeon, 658, and so on and so on. This is 665 micrograms, I guess, in Daegu, which is high. And this is a picture, I guess, from somewhere up in Seoul. Where is this? A man looks at the skyline of Seoul thick with yellow dust. And I didn't manage to take any pictures of the skyline here in Ulsan today, but it looked pretty close to it. Maybe not this bad, but it looked pretty bad. Alright, here's a map. This is the air pollution in South Korea. The official map for, I forget what they're in, AQICN, air pollution, real-time air quality index visual. If you just look at this, it's insane. Look at this. I've never seen anything like this. Not in South Korea, that is. And it seems like the western coast was being battered the most. The west and, oh man, these flickering thingies. The west and Ulsan, right here, right in my vicinity, seem to have gotten the worst of it. Like, that's nasty. Yeah. And the scary thing is, Jeju-do, check out Jeju-do. Poor Jeju-do, just bombarded. Nasty, nasty air. And if you scroll out, further out, if you notice, you would expect China to be, the one who's blamed for it, to be producing a lot. And if you notice, there isn't that much. Mongolia's got a bit of dust here. Granted, China does not seem to be showing a lot, if any at all. Vladivostok, here is China, Manchurian Plain, and there isn't that much. Not that much. Well, okay, yeah, there is. I was looking at the top of China. Wow. All right. There's a lot. There's a lot. And so Korea seems to be part of it. And it's almost like there is a oh man, I need to have like a drawing tool or something of that sort. It seems like in the top part, in the southern part, right here, it's almost like a belt that went across. If you notice, there's yellow and orange, and then here you've got like purpley and whatever else, and it's just pollution. Look over at Europe, and you've got nice greens and yellows. Canada and the United States not showing up. Too bad. I mean, too bad that we don't have any records there. So yeah, all of Korea, pretty nasty today. Not looking very good at all. Even Japan looks a lot better than Korea. This is for the website for the app that I use, the air quality app. And let's see what they have to say. So, how does South Korea rank globally in air pollution? Apparently, in 2020, South Korea ranked as 41st out of 106 countries. Amongst the worst ones. Excuse me. Bangladesh being the worst one. Haven't been. And South Korea at 41. What is the air quality forecast for South Korea? That's not so important. How bad is air pollution in South Korea? During the winter and spring of 2019, the Korean peninsula was engulfed in the worst type of fine dust. From January to March 12th, emergency measures to reduce fine dust were imposed, but only in the metropolitan area. And I assume, I don't know, it doesn't say which ones, if it's just like generalization to all metropolitan areas in South Korea. In March, for the first time ever, they were issued for 7 consecutive days. At this time, the daily average concentration of ultrafine dust (PM 2.5) in Seoul was 129 micrograms per cubic meter. In 2020, due to the fine dust seasonal management systems, the average concentration per cubic meter in Korea for 4 months has decreased by 27% from 33 micrograms last year to 24 micrograms this year. And right now, I wish I could pull up this app here on the screen. I can't. But right now, in my area, it stands at 74 micrograms per cubic meter, and I assume that Seoul is even higher than that because it's Seoul. So if my area's got 74 micrograms per cubic meter, then Seoul will be even higher than that. So apparently we moved in the wrong direction. We moved in the opposite direction than what was intended initially. Experts who look for reasons why this should be attributed to the reduction in movement due to COVID-19 pandemic. Social activities ceased, factories were shut down, and traffic dramatically decreased. But apparently that's been remedied now, and we're back in business because the numbers right now are just ridiculous. In 2019, let me see what's happening here. This is an odd. Let me move this over a little bit. Okay. Yeah. It's an odd website. In 2019, the average concentration of ultrafine dust in South Korea was the worst among the member countries of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the OECD. It was second place in 2018, but it climbed one step to the top. According to the 2019 World Air Quality Report released this month by Air Visual, a global air pollution investigation agency, South Korea's annual average ultrafine dust concentration last year was 24.8 micrograms per cubic meter, which was the worst among the OECD member countries. Chile at 24.9, which had the highest concentration of ultrafine dust among OECD in 2018, recorded 22.6. So we're not doing very well. What are the main causes of air pollution in South Korea? Squeeze me. Let's have a look. There are two. So this website claims that there are two main sources of air pollution in South Korea, namely emissions from burning fossil fuels and vehicle emissions. In 1960, South Korea was developing blah blah blah. Okay. In 2015, South Korea was ranked as the world's 11th largest gross domestic producer, but this position was attained through dirty coal-fired power stations and dirty vehicle emissions. And that hasn't really stopped in terms of the vehicle. Korea is doing a lot better on the vehicle side. There's a lot more hydroelectric cars being produced, and the old diesel cars are being taken off the streets. Slowly but surely, and that's supposed to change even more over the upcoming seasons. And so, yeah, due to China's rapidly developing economy, it burns an estimated 4 billion tons of coal to feed its power-hungry population. Yeah, well, I was always kind of snickering, or not snickering, but questioning whether the fact that people were pointing fingers at China was misguided or was unfair. It's true. China does obviously pollute a lot. There's a lot of pollution caused by China, and obviously since Korea is its next door neighbor, it's only understood that a lot of it whiffs over this way, right? It's kind of you know. Let's play some tunes. Let's play some tunes in the background. Why not? How was that coming across?
Remedied now, and we're back in business because the numbers right now. 2019.
My life here. Alright. You know what? Wrong song. I don't like this tune. This should not be the background music. It's too hippity hop. Okay. So, what can be done to improve air quality in South Korea? Let's find out. When data from domestic and overseas satellite observations, such as national reserve, actually, well, the thing that can be done is probably to start pumping dirty air into the atmosphere, Nobody in chat. Nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody wants to voice out any complaints or disagreements or grieves. Fine, no problemo. So, yeah, China and coal and all that stuff. Cars. Korea Coal Corporation. So let's have a look at Korea Coal Corporation. Does Korea actually use any coal? And I think there's some misunderstanding or some misguided belief that Korea does not rely on coal energy. And boy, would you be wrong if you presumed that. So let's, first of all, the Korea Coal Corporation, also known as Korea Coal or Coal, is a government-owned corporation which oversees the coal mining industry in South Korea. Its headquarters are located in Seoul. Korea Coal operates 3 domestic anthracite coal mines producing approximately 1.2 million metric tons annually. This is down from a peak of 5.2 million tons reached in 1988. As domestic demand for bituminous coal has grown, exceeding 70 million tons in 2005. So there you go. This is the Korean Coal Corporation. Commercial trade. Oopsies, wrong thing. Okay. So yeah. So here's an article that was, I think this was posted in 2019. But the reason why it popped up on my search is because it had the word number 2001 in it. So it's an article that kind of gives you hope. Yeah. So South Korea to close 6 older coal-fired power plants by 2021 from planned 2022. So I guess they were planning on closing down 6 of these suckers by 2022, but then they changed their mind to 2021. Everybody's going, woohoo! At the same time, you're thinking, what, 6 coal-fired power plants? That's a lot. Or maybe it's not. South Korea's 6 older coal-fired power plants will be retired by 2021, a year earlier than previously planned. As part of the country's ongoing efforts to curb air pollution, the Prime Minister's office said on Friday. The hypocrisy, the pure hypocrisy is just mind-boggling. This is posted by Reuters. I don't know if it's hypocrisy or stupid journalism. Completely dumb. And I'll show you in a minute why. South Korea's Asia's 4th largest economy runs some 60 coal-fired power plants, generating around 40% of the country's electricity, but coal has been blamed for worsening air quality in the country. So we've got these 6 power plants that are being reported to be deemed for shutdown, yeah? While at the same time, there's 6 or 7 plants being under construction. So here, if you go to Wikipedia, list of power stations in South Korea, right here, you've got coal power plants, yeah? And there are, it said 60 something? I don't know, I'm not going to count them now. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, okay, right, let's count. Anyway, and this is the completion. So these are power plants that were completed right here for you, these puppies. And this one, it says 2021 should be completed this year. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 in 2022. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're talking about shutting down 6 power plants and reopening 6 new ones. What is the point, rooters? What is the point? What is the glory? What is the gloating about? Let me see here. Let me move my ugly mug out of the way, because it seems like we're not seeing what needs to be seen, huh? Where are we? Oh, yeah. Okay. Minimalistic. Okay. So there you go. So these are the power plants that are being planned for construction. So 6 additional power plants, coal power plants. Yeah. So 6 were to be shut down. I don't know which ones, but 6 are to be shut down. And it seems like, so this one in Boryong Power Station produces 4,000 megawatts of electricity. And I used to teach people who worked in the industry of power plant, nuclear power plant and such here in the vicinity, and I heard talk of megawatts, but like, I don't know, I think the layman has, including myself, have no idea what 4,000 megawatts is. Like, how much electricity is that, how big of an area does that fuel, and so forth. But let's just have a look at compare this. So this is the biggest, oh actually no, it's not. Yunghyeong Power Station, 6,820 megawatts. Produces 6,820 megawatts of electricity, and that is the biggest one. Here are 1, 2, 3 fuel oil power plants. Then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 natural gas power plants producing below 2,000 megawatts each, and then there are the nuclear power plants. And it seems like the biggest producer of nuclear power is Gori. The Gori nuclear power plant, which is located just outside of Gyeongju, between Ulsan and Gyeongju. And that produces 6,537 megawatts of electricity, which is 400... or something like that. 300, what's the math? 350 or something? My math sucks. Below. Yeah, less than that. Around 300 megawatts less than what is produced by the Yonghyeong Power Station right here. So, combined, Korea produces a lot more energy using their coal mines or coal power plants than any other power plant that's out there. So, you know, their fingers being pointed at China and their fingers being pointed at, you know, cars and car pollution and stuff like that. But I think there's very little talk about the pollution that's caused by the use of coal in South Korea. And there are articles, stupid articles like this, you know, put out by Reuters, whatever, like Reuters, I think they're German. This is a German paper. The Reuters. And numbers seem different from the above. 3 out of world's top 6 coal power plants are in South Korea. Yeah, well, there you go. Paul Surratt says 3 out of world's top 6 coal power plants are in South Korea. Well, there you go. I had no idea that's even true. But so if that's the case, then, you know, like, what did you expect? You've got a small, tiny little country with these massive coal manufacturing or coal guzzling stink pads. And why is everybody pointing fingers at China and saying, you know, China's to blame, or the average Joe like myself driving a car? You know, nobody's talking about the power plants, the coal power plants. Nobody's talking about the factories that shovel carbon dioxide and sell it off, you know, or purchase the, what is it, the allowance, purchase the allowance from the government, you know, on how much pollution they can produce. Nuclear power plants, yeah. So here we go, nuclear power plants. There's a bunch of them. And then hydroelectric power plants, which are this many. A handful, they produce this much in megawatts. And let me move this over a little bit for some reason. Yo, that's better, okay. And then there's actually some tidal power plants, 1, 2, 3, 4, producing a small amount of electricity, and I assume that most of them are, this one's under construction, okay, I assume it's finished in 2017, this one's proposed, so who knows if it's finished or not, so there could only be 1 or 2 or 3 maybe, and I assume that they're like located somewhere out in Jeju-do, and there's some wind power plants, 9 turbines, 6 and 24, and these are the megawatt-ish. So essentially, if you notice, as of this, when was this posted? Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. I have no idea when this was posted, when it was updated. January. This page was last edited on January 2021. So just edited this year. And apparently, as of this edit, there are no solar-powered power plants. If you walk around in my neighborhood, there's one neighborhood in Ulsan, of which the roofs of almost every single house is covered with solar panels, which is good, but that's all for individual use. And if you drive out into the countryside, you will see every now and then kind of larger fields covered with solar panels. And again, these are probably for like small domestic usage or maybe for farming, but in terms of like larger power production, solar power production, Korea has none of that. And I assume that partially it's due to the fact that Korea is a pretty densely hilly country. I mean, there's like over 65% of the landmass here are mountains, which would make it pretty hard for any like, you know, substantial setup of power plant or solar panels and stuff like that. Paul says 5 out of 10 biggest coal power plants are in China. As long as Korea has China to scapegoat, it can hide behind that and never face its own pollution production. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly my point. That is precisely my point. And Korea's, and you know, obviously government is very good at producing propaganda, and people never question it, or many people do. But if you do, then you know you're the nail that sticks out and gets hammered down. So for the most part, I think people are very, very eager to point fingers at, you know, at China or Korea or Japan or whatever else. And on that note, so just this. On that note, in addition to this, so it's not just South Korea that's taking a beating from you know, Korea is involved. So are Japan and South Korea serious about ending coal financing in Southeast Asia? So both Japan and Korea are spending billions of dollars to finance coal mining and coal production, or coal electricity production through coal consumption. They're heavily involved in financing these industries in Southeast Asia. Climate optimists often point to the rapid drop in costs for renewable energies like solar and wind as proof that an unstoppable clean energy transition is underway. Over time, the economic inertia of cheaper renewables will cause energy markets to shift their equilibriums away from fossil fuels and blah 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 blah. Here's the paragraph I wanted to read. Both Japan and South Korea have major energy and financial companies that are part of a global network built around financing, constructing, and operating coal-powered plants. Financial institutions in both countries loan emerging markets billions of dollars to build coal power plants that use Japanese or Korean manufactured parts. Japanese and Korean energy companies often partner with the loan recipients and take equity stakes in the power plants. So these projects also create long-term revenue streams. With fast-growing neighbors in Southeast Asia stimulating demand for energy, it's a natural market for Japan and South Korea to export their surplus financial capital and manufacturing goods. The hypocrisy of this is just mind-boggling. Like, if you ever thought that the government was, any government, and this is not just Korean government, any government was, there for the benefit of the people, how naive you must feel right now. We're talking about like a government who's, in one area they're saying we need to curb down on pollution, on emissions and all that stuff, and at the same time permitting large companies to invest billions of dollars in the production of tools that will basically supply that very market that's supposed to be squashed, that is supposed to be so bad for us in this area, while it's being fueled and incentivized with economic incentives across the globe. It's mind-boggling. It's shocking. Honestly, it's like, what the? But that's what happens. Do I enjoy this article? Yes, I quite do enjoy this article. It was a very interesting read. Kind of eye-opening, you could say. South Korea, lenders will end support for coal, he says. This is, I don't know who this fella is, Daryl Proctor. Published January 2021. Affiliates of one of South Korea's largest business conglomerates announced they no longer will provide financial support for coal projects, putting in jeopardy plans to finish a 2,100 megawatts coal-fired power plant project that has been expected to come online in 2024. Well, I don't know. I don't feel bad. These are people that are like just, we clearly need a shift. Because, I mean, when you look at the air quality that just kicked in today, it was scary. Where's the article? Okay, here we go. South Korea pollution is China the cause of fine dust. This is by the BBC, right? And again, I'm surprised to see BBC posting such drivel. Well, I don't know, just one-sided, what you might call it, reporting. From a young age, so it's about this kid who basically was suffering, from fucking shitty air. Fine dust, which blah blah blah. The kid had to take some steroids, some major strong steroids, until the doctor basically told his mom to keep the kid in the house. And this is one of the main concerns that I had about living or continuing to live in South Korea in 2016, when we were starting our Shane Hagwon. By the way, where the heck is my Shane sticker? Where did my Shane logo go? Bloop. There you go. No, that's not it. Oh, here you go. Ah, there it is. It's not on the chat view, and not the browser view. Okay. Ding. Yeah, having to face this. So, like my kids, for example, think my daughter is on another week of online studies, and so she's stuck at home, and it's almost makes me want to say thank goodness, because she doesn't have to be outside. She doesn't have to be sucking all the air that was just horrendously thrown upon us today. My son, on the other hand, had to commute between the house and our Hagwon, which is not very far away, but yeah. And we kept all of our kids, 100-something kids in our school. We kept them all inside. I think some of them snuck out, but we did a pretty good job of keeping them all inside for the sake of the little ragrats and their breathing mechanisms, their lungs, man, because it's horrendous. So yeah, if you wonder what caused the pollution in South Korea, I don't know. Maybe it's the sudden jump of, I don't know if you've noticed, but in South Korea, like one of the articles stated, during Corona, there was a drop in pollution. A lot fewer people were traveling to work and back. Some factories are probably maybe not shut down, but they definitely slowed down in their production. And so the pollution levels dropped. And maybe right now we're seeing a bit more of an uptake. Some companies may be starting to use air conditioners, because it is getting hotter the past couple of, like yesterday. Today it was pretty warm. Our building is freezing inside, but maybe there's some other buildings that did require some air conditioners already. And I assume that there's a lot more people traveling because the weather was nice over the weekend, especially. And Paul, did you post a comment or just said hi? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, and so that's probably it. There's just a lot more traffic happening, a lot more things being used, and all of a sudden we've got this massive dump of pollution. And I assume that the factories or the power plants are working overtime right now, and causing all the pollution. So, and while I'm not dismissing air pollution coming in from China, there's definitely a large percentage of it being puffed out onto the masses here locally. And so, don't let anybody fool you into believing that it's all from China, that Korea is innocent. This is just another factor you need to take into consideration is the staggering amount of construction that Korea was going through recently, and I assume is still going through. There are highways being built and construction going on, and that only adds to the dust levels. Paul says, I guess the links I've been posting don't show up. No, they didn't show up. Let me just check. It could be that they were flagged down. Let's have a look here. Yeah, no, there are no links that I see. I haven't seen any links. Where did you post them? In the comment section? Or in the chat? If you posted them in the chat section, in the comment section rather, then they should show up there probably. I don't know if there is a comment section at the moment while the live feed is going, but there's nothing. You posted 3 in the chat, there's nothing. Huh. It's not even showing up in the usually I would get like a message saying that YouTube blocked or that there is a comment held for review, but I can't see anything. I don't know if that's something, probably something with my, let's see, live chat. That's interesting. Not sure why that is happening. You can see them? Could be on your end. Live chat, top chat. Yeah, usually if there's like, if people posted links that were questionable or whatever, YouTube would flag them and put, give me a message saying that there's some comments up for review. But right now there's nothing. So sorry. Maybe if you care to post them in the chat section once, or in the comment section once the video is up. And I assume, yeah, of course wiki is questionable. It's not 100% accurate. I mean, it's written by, by anybody who can get to it and start typing, right? I assume that some of it is partially accurate. In any case, like a number of these power plants, I assume if it's not 100%, it is somewhat accurate. Let's see what are the resources here. Home Kepco, Kimpo, generating facilities in operation, Cospo, Yangdu pumped storage, hydroelectric stations. Let's have a look at these articles here. Oh, some links do not open. Interesting. Look at that. Here, statistics of electric power plant in South Korea. What is this here? Oh. Confirm. I just tried to access some of the links that are provided in wiki, but most of them are leading me into a dead end. Questionable, huh? Very questionable. Okay. Clean development mechanism project design document from CDM. What is this document here? General description, executive board, title of project. South Korea. What is the project site is located on the eastern seashore of Korean Peninsula, which is the north of the major. I don't even know what that is. Wind turbines projects. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The point being of all this, if you can post top 10 coal power plants on wiki, You mean the ones here are the top 10 in the world? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Top 10 are right here. Completion, fuel type, units, capacity. Here's capacity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Point being, yes, I'm only looking at South Korea. I'm just looking at South Korea. I'm not looking at the world. I'm looking at South Korea. I don't know what the world is producing. I don't know how bad the pollution is, outside of South Korea. I'm just looking at South Korea, not making this a global issue. Just stating the facts that Koreans love to point their fingers at China and dismiss the crap that's going on here locally. That's all. That's all. And I guess on the brighter side, yeah, hence the crap air here. Of course it's crappy. On the brighter side, though,
Good evening. We begin with some positive news and some not so positive ones on the vaccine front. South Korea's expert panel says the first of its
Korea is introducing holiday days, post-vaccine holiday days.
3 reviews has found J&J Janssen's COVID-19 vaccine to be safe and effective, moving the single-dose shot a step closer to winning final approval by the nation's drug safety agency. Health authorities are also recommending that employers give vaccine sick leaves of up to 2 days for those who apply for it. Meanwhile, it appears the global vaccine shortage is beginning to impact this country's procurement. Arirang News' Lee Kyung-eun leads our coverage tonight.
Starting in April, South Korean companies are advised to give employees a so-called post-inoculation vacation to monitor for any side effects.
I love that. Post-inoculation vacation. What a nice tongue roller. Post-inoculation vacation. So, starting in April, when you get a shot of COVID, technically, you're also going to be blessed with a 2 or how many days vacation because it's going to knock you on your ass and you're going to be crying. People have reported blood clots. One dude, 20-year-old apparently. But for the most part, I think people are coming down with just severe fevers and shakes and body aches and all kinds of stuff. I've heard reports. So that's what you've got to look forward to if you're getting inoculated for the COVID vaccine, with the COVID vaccine. Yep. I gotta change my tunes, man. Next time I'm gonna have some funky tunes here. Oh yeah. Sonny, what the heck is this? Let's go to our closing credits. Dubstep. Oh yeah. Alrighty, so that's it, folks. Paul, Surette, thank you. Okay, yeah. Point is 8 out of 10 top electricity producing coal plants are located in South Korea, hence the crap air here. Right, I see what you mean. I didn't even realize that there were 8 out of 10 top coal plants in the world. So that just makes it even worse, and it reinforces my point of, damn, stop pointing fingers at China and stop pointing fingers at local bus drivers or vehicle drivers, because I think they're the least to blame for all this. So, yeah. So, right, so that's that. That's going to be it for today's podcast. What do we've got on the clock here? 45 minutes, not bad. I think it's an important topic. I hope that this was kind of informative and let people know what's going on. If you want to stay safe and you want to, not suck in the air, forget Corona, wear the masks, because you need to protect yourself from the air. I don't know, it feels like all of this is instigated by the mask producers. Massive mask production in production stages, and I would recommend that all of you get yourself some serious masks or stay indoors as much as possible, Otherwise, you'll be sucking in on 2.5 micrograms of cubic meters. 29th of March, we're looking forward to April. April is going to be a very good month for cryptocurrencies. Hopefully, everybody's hoping it's going to be fantastic. It's going to make millionaires out of all of us. So I hope to see you guys on the flip side. In the meantime, I need to like chill out because it's been a long day and I'm drinking my baby beer. I finished one, I'm going to have another baby beer. And I hope that everybody had a good one. If you're new to this channel, if this is your first time watching the podcast, then make sure to hit the like button. If you feel like checking out more of the channel, then subscribe and leave a comment in the section below if you have any questions. And I will see you next week on another podcast, on another fantastic podcast. So yeah, we'll see you then. See you next weekend. Bye bye.